Hi friends, I am here to talk about the investigation into the Keesee allegations against Tom Keesee. As you all know, there have been articles that are coming out almost every day. And so I just wanted to go over that a bit and talk about my thoughts in regard to this investigation that we're able to watch in real time. So I read an article that was dated February 10th, and it is by the Knox Pages. Looks like it's a newspaper. And the title is Sex Crimes Allegations Involving Faith Life Church. Focus of Joint Law Enforcement Probe. And it reads that the Knox County and Licking County Sheriff's Offices are jointly investigating. And they're investigating the SA allegations that are connected with Faith Life Church, noting that Drenda Keesee and Gary Keesee that Drenda Keesee, who's a co-pastor with Gary Keesee, recently took office as one of the Knox County commissioners in Knox County. So in this article, it doesn't mention that Tom Keesee is a potential person of interest. In fact, it just says that the sex crime allegations involve Faith Life Church, but doesn't specifically state who. So, and you're going to hear me talk about this later, but just off the bat, when I saw that with the Knox County is in a joint investigation with Licking County, that is curious to me. It is concerning to me because we already know that Knox County Sheriff would have a conflict of interest due to the fact that Drenda is a county commissioner. And it appears, according to David Yost, the AG, that she has a say in funding. I'll get to it later. I'm not quoting to it, but right now that I'm looking at a different article, and it's referenced in a one later, that she has some oversight with funding to the sheriff's office. So in my opinion, I would think that Knox County should proceed with caution. It seemed as though in the beginning they handed it off to the BCI because of the conflict, and I just don't think that they should be involved. But we're going to move on because these articles, while a lot of the content is similar, there are a little bit of changes in them. So again, this one that I'm referencing right now is from February 10th. So that was 3 days ago. Today that I'm making this video, it is February 13th, which is Thursday. All right, so it reads that Knox County Sheriff's Office will have a detective assist in the investigation. Okay, that's what this one says. At this point, again, I'm just concerned because of Drenda's involvement and who she may have reaches to in the sheriff's office or any government official in that county. So, if there is involvement still with Knox County Sheriff's Office, I would think that they have to have some type of measures in place to block any potential reach by Drenda or anybody that she's associated with. And again, that is a conflict. Not only do we know that Dave Yost has the conflict, but Knox County does too because of her involvement as a commissioner. So going back to the article, it reads that the allegations go back several years and that the investigators are going to talk to church leaders to include Tom Keesee. So his name is included as somebody that they're going to reach out to as their investigation into the church leaders. And also Gary and Drenda and Timothy Keesee. Well, we all know Tom Keesee is the person of interest, and I would think that he has lawyered up by now, and I highly doubt that he is going to participate in any investigation. So the Knox County Sheriff McKnight is quoted as saying, certainly Tom Keesee would be part of the investigation because he was part of the church at that time. I find that curious. I don't know if there were any other quotes from the sheriff that this writer of this article did not include, and they say that no one's been charged in the investigation. I just found this kind of a vague and just generic article in that regard, not really mentioning that Tom Keesee is the point of interest, but just saying that he's part of the investigation. Another thing is, we know that Knox County has had this at least since February 3rd. So it's been 10 days. And I'm not sure which date they decided to bring in Licking County. But at this point, I'm a bit surprised that no charges have been filed yet. I mean, how long does it take? We know that we have victims that are coming forward. So the glaring fact is, in that article, Tom Keesee is not mentioned as a person of interest, as the suspect. And, then it goes on to state the quote that we all know about, that we keep seeing from Gary about, they want, Gary and Drenda's attorney, saying that they want to clarify that there's no allegations against pastors Gary and Drenda or any of their other pastors, and that corresponds with the statement that we all know that Gary made from the pulpit, saying that no one currently has been accused of SA or any wrongdoing. Well, my impression, based upon what we've learned so far from the whistleblowers, is that there should be an investigation into Gary and Drenda Keesee, and even possibly their other son. If they had any knowledge of the allegations and covered them up, which it appears that people are saying they did, then they should be investigated as well. I don't think that they should be immune from potential prosecution. So this is, like I said, I think that this is a very interesting case for the fact that we are watching the investigation happen in real time, and the public eye is on them. So I think that they are being very careful. And perhaps that's why we're not seeing charges right away. They're probably going to dot every I and cross every T. The article, this one that I'm referring to still from February 10th, discusses how the reports came in by a Columbus police detective who contacted Knox County Sheriff's Office to report the incident involving a juvenile. And they go on to talk about where it occurred, which was on Sharp Road, and that the Keesees, Drenda, and Gary own property there, and also their home is there. And they talk about her role as a county commissioner, and David Yost declining to investigate because of the conflict of interest. This is all we already know about this. And then they report that on February 3rd, the BCI notified Knox County that they could not take the case. Not sure why there appears to have been like that lag that we know occurred, because February 1st is when the Facebook post came out by Kirsten McKinney saying that she has not heard from or received an explanation as to why the BCI was not taking it. And then we know that the BCI notified Knox County 3 days later, which I believe was due to the petition that was sent in with all the signatures of people protesting this issue. So, all right, so I have concerns with the fact that Knox County is still involved. All right, so that's from that first article. Then there's an article the very next day, February 11th. That's from the Christian Post. And that title reads, Tom Keesee, son of Faith Life Church founders, accused of sexually abusing sister and others. So we've got the Christian newspaper or post stating who the perpetrator is, and the secular from the day before not stating who it is, and that one is Knox County. Are they being careful because it's Knox County pages and the commissioner is Knox County? Do they have a political affiliation with Drenda? I don't know. I don't live up there, but these are things that are of interest to me. So this article is the Christian Post, and it discusses the allegations of SA, including one by his sister, naming Kirsten McKinney. And it says that Tom Keesee resigned from his position last August as the chief media officer at the church, Faith Life Church. The Christian Post reached out to Faith Life regarding the more than 2,500 signatures on a petition calling for Ohio AG Dave Yost to investigate. But Faith Life had no comment. And then, of course, their attorneys chime in with the comments that we keep seeing over and over. and saying that they have a willingness to be transparent and to cooperate with authorities. Well, I believe that they should, because if they don't, they could be criminally charged if there's a cover-up. It's too early to say. Too very early on. We don't have any of the charges yet. I'm very curious what these will be. And the article refers to Gary's statement, again, where he's not aware of anyone currently on staff currently using that keyword because his son had already resigned months ago. And, you know, this investigation probably, I'm assuming, is not just into Tom Keesee, because we've heard that there are other potential perpetrators. Not only that, there's the issue of cover-up. I would hope that that is a major focus of their probe in the investigation to determine if there was any cover-up. And I really do hope that if they do find any evidence of that, that those people will be brought to justice, to include Gary and Drenda Keesee, if they find evidence to support that. And so that article reads that the Licking County Sheriff's Lieutenant Gus Moore told the Columbus Dispatch that the case had been transferred to them and that they would be investigating. So that's a little bit different from the article the day before that says it's a joint effort between the two. So this one gives me a little bit more hope and alleviates a little bit of my concern, because keeping it at Knox County to me would be problematic. So if Licking County the case has been transferred, the investigation has been transferred to them, that's good, because now it's a county that is not involved with Knox County. So this article, the one from the 11th, describes the role of the BCI, the Ohio Attorney General's Bureau of Criminal Investigation, and it says that they serve as Ohio's crime lab, I'm pulling out cords, and criminal records keeper, and offers investigative services to local, state, and federal enforcement agencies. So the word offer to me means that it's not a shall, meaning that an investigative agency such as a sheriff's office, they can and have the authority to investigate a crime. So they offer investigative services. I didn't take it as they must investigate. Again, I believe that the reason why it was transferred to the BCI is because of the conflict with Knox County, which I believe we all know that. But then Dave Yost had to kick it back because his conflict with the Keesees. So a lot of the same information in this article as the prior one, but it does reference Kirsten McKinney's post, the Facebook post, where she states that many people are aware that there's allegations involving a family member, that she was a victim, and that she has concerns for others' safety. I found that interesting, because that's the first thing I think of when somebody's roaming about. He's free. Tom Keesee is free. So I would have a concern if I'm in proximity to him, or, even if somebody didn't know about it, that, he's obviously a danger to potential victims. He has been alleged with some serious crimes. So I would be very concerned in that area. So I hope that this has been blasted all over their news outlets there, and we see that there's articles coming out every day, and that people are picketing in front of the church. So hopefully the awareness is out there and people will keep themselves safe in this situation, as well as the whistleblowers and the victims that are coming out, because this guy is roaming the streets. He's out. He hasn't been charged. He's not in jail. So this article mentions Olivia Wooten, who publicly revealed that she's a survivor when she responded to Kirsten's disclosure on Facebook. She said that she's a survivor of SA and that her story was silenced and covered up by the very community that was supposed to protect her. And thank God she's no longer afraid to share her truth. And thank God she is coming out as a victim and speaking up. Olivia's husband is noted as Nathan Wooten, a former employee of Faith Life, and in a statement, he said that Tom Keesee confessed to him more than a decade ago that he had essayed his wife when she was a minor. Extremely troubling. All right, we have a third article that's dated yesterday, which was February 12th, and that I think is from ABC 6 News. It actually references February 10th, but then updated February 12th, and it has a lot of the same information, but what was different about it, it says that Licking County Sheriff's Office has launched its investigation into allegations of SA involving a former leader of Faith Life Church in New Albany. So this one is saying Licking County. This is different from 2 days earlier with that joint task force with Licking and Knox. So now we're just dealing with Licking County. And I hope that's the case. I hope that it is just Licking County that's leading the way in this. There is a fourth article that I looked at today, and it is dated February 13th, and it is by the Independent, and they contact a woman. It appears to be Kirsten. They're referencing her, and they spoke to her about what was her allegations, and it goes through what she said, as she indicated in her Facebook post, that her allegations were dismissed by the Ohio AG's office, despite the fact that she was going on record about the allegations. And the article reads that after the AG's office failed to provide her with an explanation as to why the investigation was not going forward, then she began to suspect that her mother, Faith Life Church pastor and Knox County commissioner, was involved in a cover-up because her mom has close political relationship with Dave Yost, the AG. So thank God she brought that forward and posted that on Facebook on February 1st, because we've seen a great response, and we're here now, and it is now 12 days later, not even 2 weeks later, and there is what appears to be an independent agency investigating these allegations. And we're waiting. We're all waiting to see what happens. So these conflicts, it should never stall an investigation. And the victims should be aware of what's going on. So there was that gap where Kirsten, and it appears others, were placed in the dark, and that was wrong. And I don't know who dropped the ball. I don't know if they even think that they did, or maybe what happened, but it sounded from what some of the whistleblowers said, that there was a lag and perhaps somebody not communicating well. I hope that doesn't happen now, especially now they are under the eye and scrutiny of the public right now, who is watching every single move they make, which is why I think perhaps it's taking longer than usual to get charges, because I would expect, with the information we know, where there's victims that are ready, willing, and able to come forward to state what happened, that we should see charges. But again, I think that they are being very careful. They are going to dot every I and cross every T. So this most recent article from today, February 13th, it reads that the Licking County Sheriff's Office in Newark, Ohio, announced they would now be handling the investigation into allegations after the Knox County Sheriff's Office put in a request for a handover. So I think based upon that, we can safely assume Knox County is not involved anymore. That's what I take from that. And that's the most recent article. That's from the Independent. I think we're going to keep seeing articles every day, and perhaps there'll be a little bit of of information that we didn't already have. So I think at this point, just based upon what I've reviewed, it seems as though Knox County may not be in it at all if they requested a handover, and that's a good sign. So what are my thoughts? Well, like I said, I'm concerned with the safety of people that are involved, victims, whistleblowers, or potential SA victims, because I don't believe that any predator is going to stop until they're made to stop. They just don't stop. And based upon what I've seen so far, I believe that Tom Keesee, who's been alleged to have committed multiple SA against multiple people, was probably emboldened because he was allowed to do what he was doing based upon what I've seen and heard, that there was cover-ups. And when you do that, you empower that person to continue doing these things. They're not held to any account, no responsibility. And, perhaps now is the time. We keep seeing these exposures over and over, and it's really important to talk about them. I see people on my comments, other YouTubers comments about, why are we talking about this? Well, if you're not interested, move on. This doesn't concern you. This is what we are interested in because we are interested in justice. We're seeking justice. And the people that should be concerned, protecting, moving forward as advocates are not doing it. So you have people like me. I don't know these people. I don't know the victims, but I'll keep on speaking out. I'm not going to stop speaking out. And I highly doubt any of the YouTubers that have channels that have been speaking out about Daystar, IHOP, anybody. I highly doubt they're going to stop. And they shouldn't. This is what we've been called to do. And this is how I see it. The ones that have an issue with the fact that we're speaking up and out and talking about this and won't stop, they have the same attitude of the Pharisees as the ones that are on the platforms. They have the same attitude. And either they've been beat down into submission, so they're on the same page as these so-called leaders who have these big platforms and big ministries, and the Jonies and the Keesees and the Lance Wallnows, all of them, Perry Stone, every last one of them. They're going to have their subordinates. They're going to have the ones they have their thumb on. And I believe a lot of these comments are by people that are in their camps. I wouldn't put it past Joni to hire people to create accounts to go on to the comments and make the comments that they make, because we've already seen evidence of that with Joni, where she asked her nephew's wife to do exactly that, as far as like and make comments on her daughter Rachel's posts. That's a job. So I do not put it past them that they have people that are trolling and making comments. And why, if it's not them, why are you so concerned about what we're doing? I mean, I could, if I knew what you did and you had a passion for, and maybe I wasn't interesting, would I bash you? No. If that's what you have a passion for, good for you. Do your passion. I have a passion for this. I've been called to talk about this. My purpose is to talk about these things in the context of being an attorney. I'm here talking about so far what we have in the investigation, what I would expect, what my concerns are, and this is going to continue. I have a video that I'm going to be working on. I'm trying to work on all the statements that were made by all the whistleblowers. And I'm going to reconcile what they say, just put it into an organized fashion and talk about that. So far, I'm aware of 6, because 3 were on Laura Lynn's show at one time, and then 3 in another. So I'm putting that together. And I believe that this is going to be discussed a lot. And it doesn't take Joni off the hook, because that is still there. We still know that has not ended. Joni has not repented. All of this really is, we're calling to repentance the people that need to repent. We would love to see that happen. We would love to see the restoration of family. But because they won't, and they keep digging in their heels, that doesn't mean we shut up. I mean, it's exactly the opposite. So we are going to continue to speak, and we're going to speak truth. And if you don't like it, just move on. So I will be back with another video once I put it together about my thoughts after reviewing all of the statements that were made by the whistleblowers. And I hope to see you in that video and read your comments. So let me know what you think about what I've talked about today in regard to the investigation. That's what this is about, the investigation. Hopefully, I'll have an update soon if charges are filed. I hope that that really does happen within the next week. So I look forward to hearing from you.